This movie has just been an amazing experience on every level. The talent and production design is great. Working with Francis, the director, and working with sound people, it's probably the best experience I've had on a feature film in many, many years. Everybody on the film kind of went after it and had tons of energy and really was very excited about the movie. And I sort of exuded that same level of excitement.
It's also just exciting visually. It's a 1930s piece, so the costumes are fabulous. It's really fun to get into that era, Prohibition era. You see the speakeasy, you see the raids, you see all that, and it's a good story, and I think everyone's really looking forward to putting it out there. I'd describe the editing on this one to be almost invisible. It's supposed to be very graceful. I think that we're trying to keep it in with the style of the times. You just want to feel like you're part of the story, and we're always going for the best performances. Alan, in particular, is a very visual effects-driven editor, and he uses the Media Composer all the time to do things like invisible split screens and time warps and speed ramps and things that the viewer would never know is there.
I have this kind of whole thing I call performance-based visual effects, which, you know, it might be if you've got a two-shot and you slow down the person who's actually not speaking on the right side to make them react a certain way to what the person's talking, and you can split these people. There are all these amazing tools that you can do. You can replace people's eyes, you can replace their mouth, you can do all this great stuff, and if you know how to do it quickly, you can know whether or not it's going to work for the movie and actually help the scene or not help the scene. Sound is 50% of the experience, and this movie is a very, very rich visual movie, and it's set in a period where those times sounded different, and transporting people back to that time and in those spaces is something that Jeremy and Skip did incredibly well.
One of the things we definitely try to do is in the process of making these lush backgrounds and these detailed environments in Pro Tools, all throughout the movie there's a lot of subtle changes depending on what's happening. There's not very many scenes where the backgrounds are there from the beginning of the scene to the end of the scene. There's 3 or 4 permutations where we transgress through these different feelings in layers of colors and sounds.
We have this system that we've been working within for several movies. But in particular for Francis's other 2 movies, we were able to come on early enough to have a real contribution during the editing period in terms of design, but also we could get ready for temps and screenings, as well as maintaining everything that had been done.
One of the great things about the process is that there's really easy collaboration between Pro Tools and Avid Media Composer. And because it's propagating back into my system, people come in to screen the movie with us in that screening room right out of the Media Composer. Not only does it look great, but it sounds really great. And it sounds better in ways that I don't have time to create in my day-to-day duties as a picture editor, when all I needed to worry about was the story. And it's at a level that is light years ahead of what any really assistant can be expected to do with, you know, the hustle and bustle of their day.
And in the old days, that happened during the last 2 weeks. Everything. The music came together, the sound effects, everything arrived at the stage for the first time at the craziest part of the post-production process. And this is really a gigantic advance. And it has to do with being able to gradually create the soundtrack over a longer period of time. And we could not do it if we didn't have workstations that were compatible, and also workstations that we could edit and mix on in the same process.
I think all of these newer advances in technology that we're seeing over the past few years, that we're continuing to see now, are only giving us more strength as storytellers. I think our job is to make sure that we have all of these great tools in front of us and we're using them to tell the best story that we possibly can.
Plus, it's become such a collaborative art form that everybody has part of a process, and the way that you can collaborate with the tools that you're currently providing is fantastic, and it's just going to get better. It's effortless. You don't really have to think about it.